So Benedict is someone who wrote a journal that they set up, that they used to set up the game, and had been hoping to find this lore last week, in like the tutorial, or like somewhere in the menus or in the archives already. Nope, it's just on the website in the archived section of the website. The premise of the game.
So you had to dig to find what
I
you
knew
had to
it.
dig to find the
Well,
starting point of the
it's
game.
not that I had to dig. I knew that it was called Benedict's Journal,
Okay.
but I had to search Benedict's Journal on the internet in order to find it. So, what's funny is like most of this stuff, like we do know this. Like the fan base just does know all of this, but we just don't talk about it. We just assume it's there. And so it's like, how did we get this? How did we get this information? But since you're a significantly better orator than I am,
Oh,
would
you're
you
too kind.
would you do me the favor and starting on September 12th, of Benedict's Journal?
Yes. All right. Well, as an actor, I will use my actor skills
I mean, you know
for
the premise.
context
You know
clues.
the basic premise at this point, so you can imagine what kind of world you've been stuck in.
Yeah, it's a spooky world, and there's a there's an alchemist who's transforming things, and
We don't know about that yet.
I'm I'm a guy named Benedict, so I assume I'm
we
white.
we thought he was the alchemist for a second, but no.
That would have well, that's the connection I made. Okay, so that's not true. That might given circumstances, that is not true. So I'll forget that, and I'll get started. September 12th. I began my search in the summer of 1956 after hearing of the town of Weeks, a place that had an unusual number of missing persons reports. America is filled with such towns, but what made this one more odd than some was that there had never been a report of a body found. Indeed, the number of open missing cases stood at a staggering 364, the last of which had happened a mere 10 weeks ago. So, thusly I embark on my journey. September 21st. It only took me a few hours upon my arrival to feel the malignant presence that lurked in the forgotten town of Weeks. Its buildings and structures in various stages of decay, all of them abandoned to the ravages of time. I visited the library in Weatherfield, a nearby town. It didn't take me long to find information about the region. Once a vast, prosperous, and sprawling industrial area, Weeks suddenly became a ghost town, not through lack of iron ore, but on an account of a series of terrible disasters. Once again, I had found a place touched by the darkest of evils, so powerful that it spread like a virus in the area, consuming the world around it, rotting the core from within. The locals of Weatherfield would not discuss or talk further of the town of Weeks. The locals acted like the sort of thing you would see in your weekly penny dreadful, their eyes wild with terror. What happened here? September 23rd. I have spent 2 days in this derelict library. The archives are somewhat unorganized, but I have managed to learn more about the town of Weeks. I get this eerie feel as I sit in that basement, but I feel a need to learn more. I have come too far now. I managed to piece some parts together, and it seems like everything leads back to the Macmillan estate, a huge industry with a mine and foundry, and the former heart of Weeks. I found some police reports and complaints, but no sign of legal action. The archives here do not tell the whole story, but my mind tells me that I need to find this place, as the Macmillan estate might sit upon some answers about these unexplainable disappearances. I simply must go further. I feel somewhat uneasy, as my comfort zone most often is behind a desk, but I can't be I cannot be shackled to words. I must instead make some use of action. All I have managed to find out is that some deaths occurred, and it was just shortly after that that this rot took hold of Weeks. I have tried to find my way, and I asked the librarian, but she refused to even talk about it. Old maps in the archive show the way, but nobody's willing to take me. I will set forth tomorrow, on my own. Question marks? September. I cannot explain what happened today. I awoke to find myself in this strange place. I have no memory of how I came here. My last recollection was of leaving Weatherfield and beginning my journey towards the Macmillan estate. The last part I had to travel by foot. Seemingly never-ending fire burns next to me. I cannot tell even how long I lay asleep. This area of woods seems to have no day or night, just an intolerable gloom. Unsure what awaits me, but I will keep filling this journal, maybe with a hope to warn others. Entry 1, after the awakening. Am I alive? I no longer know or care. I have tried to hike my way out of these forsaken woods to no avail. Multiple times I have tried to escape the fog, and each time I have come face to face with a nameless terror that stalks the darkness. A being in a human form. Even though I feel human is an exaggeration, it is a shadow of its former self, a horrid shadow. I fear I cannot escape this place, nor the being stalking these woods. I just barely managed to escape. Silence is the key, it seems. I have also seen this evil thing, this entity reaches out to pluck those who fall into its path, bringing them to its hideous construct where it plays with their soul for all eternity. The entity curses these innocents with an endless game of life and death. Each death brings an awakening into a fresh hell where the hunt begins again. I am but a mere puppet in this grim theater. Entry 6. What defines reality? Is it just that you can taste and touch, feel the pain as the blade slides in between your ribs, taste the iron-tinged flavor of the blood in your mouth, and smell of death as the darkness takes you? Is it hope that drives you on, hoping that the next time will bring your actual death, or hope that the next exit reveals a way back home? I yearn for some kind of escape, be it death or life. Entry 17. The entity is a force of darkness from an ancient place with no name, no sense of purpose other than to endlessly torture its victims over and over again. It is torture and not death it seeks, as there is always an escape. Perhaps it feeds off our hope as it seems to offer it to us, before dashing it cruelly at the last second. With each death I feel myself weaker, a little piece of my soul devoured by the darkness before I can awake. I fear, eventually, that I will lose hope. I wonder then what this dark entity will do with me. I want to find out, but I fear the answer. Am I alone here? I believe I have seen traces of others as the being that haunts me. All I seek is that soothing, flickering campfire light. Entry 26. Each killer seems pulled from a place of great darkness. Their own violent action summons this most ancient of evils from its slumber. The entity reaches out, taking them willingly into the place between worlds, where it demands they do its bidding. They must hunt and kill the prey set in front of them. Some go willingly, others need to be convinced. The entity tortures them until they are less than human and far more thing, until the last light of humanity has faded from their souls and they take up their weapons and sacrifice the survivors. The killers are needed to feed the entity with the hope that keeps it alive. I am a pawn in this parasitic charade. Entry 49. My travels have revealed 4 hellish places connected by one true evil. Each one features a past so violent and disturbing that it all ends up a jumble of things I will never forget. In these places of such foul thoughts, something lurks between the fabric of what we know as real and the dream world. Awoken by violence, it touches our world, calling the killers and victims to it. The more it pulls from the real world, the stronger it becomes, and the more it spreads. I came seeking answers, but I drown in riddles instead. I know not how long I will be able to carry on. I have all the time in the world, but only during the small pauses that I am granted. During the hunt, my time is restrained. I learn more and more, but my hope and sanity depletes faster and faster. What is to become of me? Have the killers started out at this campfire too? I bid this journal adieu. I must focus on staying alive.